What's up, y'all? It's DJ Hard Hittin Harry, and you're watching The B Shine. As an up-and-coming DJ, I was inspired by, the radio DJs at the time, like Cool DJ Red Alert, Marley Marl, Mr. Magic, cats like that. And I used to tape them. I used to be that kid that would be like, taping those DJs. And then later on, stretching Bobbito, you know what I mean? I started DJing back in the late 70s, like 78, 79. And then from the radio, we went and got equipment. We went and got turntables and, collecting records, vinyl, straight vinyl, you know what I mean? And, just seeing Run DMC and, we just wanted to be them, you know what I mean? And movies like Breakin' and Beat Street, we wanted to be that. So that's really one of my early hip hop memories, just mimicking what was hot at the time. We used to do it. Like I used to pop. I used to actually, pop and, battle cats in school and high school, you know what I mean? Come to high school and battle, in the hallways and during the lunchroom. I mean, I was like, me and my dudes that used to do it, we were like stars of the school. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you knew how to pop and you knew how to break, you were a star because like people would just watch you, like they'd be like, wow. So all the class shows, like we had, the shows, like, the assemblies. That's what I used to do. I used to break dance. I used to pop. I used to bring my brother my younger brother who used to pop with me at the time. So we had a routine, we had on our white suits with the white gloves and, the hat to the back and, you know what I'm saying? We used to pop. So that's I have to say that's one of my early hip hop memories because that was around the same time where I was DJing, but at the same time I was a B-boy, you know what I'm saying? I was a B-boy and I was doing all that. If it was a choice between getting food or buying a record, it would be buying a record a lot of times, you know what I mean? Like it was no choice no choice. So salute to all the cats that did the same thing as I did, you know what I mean? That sometime went hungry just to buy that piece of vinyl, you know what I mean? So in the very beginning, I didn't have turntables. I used to go over to, my friend's house to practice. So again, shout out to Les and Gene. They had turntables at the time. I couldn't afford turntables at the time. So I went over their crib. Then I ran with another dude named DJ Tony Martin. And then eventually, I just saved money and then bought my first set of turntables, you know what I mean? And they're probably like really, the early edition of the Technique 1200s. But before that, I used to rock off of the belt drives, you know what I'm saying? Straight belt drives with the rubber bands that would pop, you know what I mean? So we used to do high school parties. We used to do college parties, I did a lot of free parties, a lot of house parties, you know what I mean? So I did any and everything. I did as much as I could just to, gain a following, gain the experience, you know what I mean? So a lot of hip hop, a lot of house, a lot of disco, because I grew up in the disco era, So yes, you're talking about, disco. That was big. But there was a station back then called 92 KTU with Carlos de Jesus, Paco, the Latin Rascals. That was big back then, you know what I mean? So everybody listened to that station. My mom was real supportive. She, I used to DJ when I finally did get my turntables, and I used to spin inside the crib. I still lived at home. And, I had speakers and, you know what I mean? Like, and I used to practice all the time. I was thankful that my mom was real supportive. Like, she never complained. Never. You know what I mean? And God bless my mom, you know what I mean? Because I used to blow the roof off sometimes, you know what I mean? But my mother never complained because she loved music too. And, she'd be walking by, she'd be, doing her little two-step or whatever. I mean, I got my music influence from my mom. So she loved music. So what could she really say to me, I mean, I was respectful enough not to DJ like at all hours of the night, but for the most part, my mom was very, very supportive, very, very supportive. But when I told her that I wanted to be to do it for a career, like because I after high school, I studied radio and television broadcasting. I went to a broadcasting school in Manhattan, and I said, I knew I wanted to be a radio announcer. I wanted to be I wanted to get a job in radio. So instead of going to college, I found this business school slash it was called Announcer Training Studios, and it was in Manhattan, and it was it was like a trade school slash business school slash studios as well. And all my teachers actually taught radio. They were actually on the radio. So it's like, if you needed to actually get on the radio, why not learn from people that are on the radio, right? I told my mom, I was like, yo, I'm going there. I'm going to ATS. It was called ATS, Announcer Training Studios. She was like, are you sure that this is what you want to do? You sure you don't want to go to college? I said, well, college, didn't really give me the hands-on that I needed. You know what I mean? So she said, okay. So she said, if that's what you want to do, that's what do it. And she supported me, and I did it. I got my FCC license. You know what I mean? At the time, that's what you needed to be on the radio, your FCC license. And, I got my FCC license, and I did it, And then from there, I went and I got on. They told me that you would never be on the radio in New York City, the school said. They said if you're going to graduate from here, you'd have to start out at a radio station down south somewhere. And I ended up getting well, not a job, but I ended up being on the radio on WSOU, which was Seton Hall Radio, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And it was a community radio show called Quest Community Vibrations every Sunday. So the team brought me in. I was doing mixes on that show. And guess what? I was being heard all over the tri-state area because it was on 89.5 FM. And that was like, wow, And then one person that heard me was Bobbito. Bobbito used to listen to my show every Sunday. I used to listen to, I used to play a lot of hip hop, of course, a lot of mixes, a lot of the local artists in Jersey, cats that were in my neighborhood that needed some shine. I gave them some shine. You know what I mean? Bobbito started sending me records. At the time, he was at Def Jam. You know what I'm saying? That was, what year was that? That was 88, 85. I graduated 85. By 86, 87 to 88, around that time. So Bobbito started sending me records. Word. And then now, guess what? I had all the hottest Def Jam records at the time. You know what I mean? And I'm on the air in New York, in the New York City area. And I have a relationship now with Bobbito, Def Jam. I thought I was like the man at the time, you know what I mean? And that's how we know each other, like to this day. Like Bobbito always remembered me from 89.5 WSOU. And so I'm so proud of what he's doing now, you know what I'm saying? Like I actually started, finding out more and more about Afrobeat from my brother DJ Oba, actually. My brother Oba had a mix that he did, an Afrobeat mix, and he had a lot of Fela music on there, a lot of Afrobeat music, and I listened to it, and I was like, yo, this is amazing. So I started to really dig more and more and more, and that's really how I started to listen to more and more Afrobeat. And then I saw a documentary on Fela called Music is the Weapon. Blew me away. After I saw that Fela documentary, that was it. I was open after that. So that's really what really made me want to do more and more Afrobeat. And of course, it transcended into my band, Earthman Experiences, which is what I do today, which is a combination of Afrobeat, house music, dance music, you know what I mean? DJing for the Fugees and being a publicist. And both happened by accident. The first DJing for the Fugees, I happened to know my man who was running with them at the time, Papa Levi, who told me that Wyclef was looking for a DJ. So I was like, okay. So I auditioned, and then I ended up making it. You know what I mean? And then I ended up getting fired. You know, and we won't go into that. That's on YouTube if you want more information on that. But it's a really funny story. But I ended up getting fired in 93, 94. And then when I wasn't doing anything, I was like literally went back home to mom's, and I got the phone call from my man that worked at a PR firm. And then that's how I ended up, you know, working for Double Exposure Publicity. And that changed my life. That changed my life, man. I started doing PR back in 94 to 97. And then I started my own PR firm, Meridian Entertainment, from 97 to 2007. So it was kind of like I never thought that I would be doing it, you know what I mean? But I ended up working with Drew Hill, to the Zulu Nation, to, you know what I mean, Mary J. Blige. DJing has allowed me to meet so many people, man, so many people. I'm just blessed to have been able to touch people through music that I probably would have never been able to meet, you know what I mean? It affords me to do, you know, countless events, parties, you know, corporate events, and just touch people. And I really enjoyed that, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? It's a blessing. It's been a blessing, you know. It affords me to travel because of DJing, you know. I've been flown out to DJ in places like Miami, Cincinnati, Ohio, and, you know what I mean, Mexico, and so forth and so on, you know. Years from now, I hope to be able to, you know, to leave a mark that, you know, that Harry, when he came to a party, he rocked the party, you know. Or when he hit that stage with Earthman Experience, Earthman Experience killed the stage. You know, shout out to my brother Earthman. Shout out to my partner Earthman and the entire Earthman Experience crew. Shout out to my team Haitian All Stars, DJ C, DJ One, Only One Pro, Reggie Mix. Shout out to my kids. You know what I mean? You always want to leave a mark. You want to leave something that people will always remember. You know, and I think that I've achieved a legacy that's, you know, a hardworking person. Like, I'm hardworking, and I delivered a positive impact on people that I came across. You know what I mean? Folks that encountered me and everything and my spirit, they can definitely say that, yeah, Harry was a gentleman, and that Harry definitely, you know, always did the right thing. You know what I mean? At least I tried to, you know what I mean? But, you know, that's really what I want to leave. I want to leave that kind of a legacy. You know what I mean?